Ahmadinejad was originally a teacher and engineer, but became a governor after the Iranian Revolution. However, he was removed after the election of Mohammad Khatami. He's been known to be a very controversial person. During the elections, he wasn't very clear on what he wanted to do for the country, most likely to appeal to both the conservatives and the reformists. During his first 4 years, inflation and unemployment rates decreased because he maintained the economics fairly well, mainly because he was very invested in oil. Super invested in oil. Either way, Ahmadinejad was very prone to being criticized, and whenever he responded to those accusations, it tended to be in public areas and rather harsh. He's also been known to make some very inappropriate comments dealing with marriage ages, the number of children a family may have, as well as taking away a lot of women's rights. His thoughts on human rights aren't exactly any better. Going from age to sexuality, they're all very negative. Now, let's talk about the nuclear program. Ahmadinejad has been very vocal about his support of said program. He states that it's a very quote-unquote peaceful program and that the Iranian people support the continuation of the program. However, foreign countries, US, France, and Russia, are worried it's being used with a secret intent. Unlike Ahmadinejad, Rouhani had a lot of previous experience with the government life. He was a member of the Assembly of Experts, the Expediency Council, and the Supreme National Security Council. During the elections of 2013, former President Khatami advised other candidates to drop out in favor of Rouhani winning the election. Many news sources stated that Rouhani may be disqualified or has no chance in winning the election despite the support from previous presidents and reformists. A total of 36 million ballots were cast, and Rouhani won 18 million of those ballots. He performed well with both middle class, the youth, and even religious conservatives. A lot of people believe it's thanks to the Green Movement from 2009. And if you didn't know what the Green Movement is, it's when protesters demanded the removal of Ahmadinejad from office. Moving on to policies, Rouhani's economic policies focused on the long-term sustainability rather than short-term quick fixes. He believes that improving the economic conditions is important so that gaps between wealth groups would decrease. Despite not having complete control over media censorship, he believes that it's important that people have greater access to the information. Rouhani does, however, have hand in women's rights, and he says that women have the same rights as men do to education, practicing religion, work, and other areas. A downside to his election is that human rights have gotten worse. It's been established that executions have increased since Rouhani took office. He states that he has limited powers on said issues. However, 599 people, compared to Ahmadinejad's 596, have been executed in his first 14 months in office. Also, Rouhani, unlike Ahmadinejad, is not a large supporter of the nuclear program, especially since it destroys the relationship with other countries. He negotiated a deal regarding the shutting down of the nuclear program so that the international sanctions on Iran would be lifted. A recent issue that Iran has been dealing with is the struggle between the reformists and the Guardian Council. On February 26, 12,000 people became applicants for the 260-member parliament and 88-member Assembly of Experts. 7,300 people were disqualified by the Guardian Council. The reformists had 3,000 possible nominees, but only 30 were actually accepted. The other 2,970 were disqualified. After the Green Movement in 2009, authorities have cracked down on the involvement of moderates. They've been sidelined ever since. A leading reformist in Iran said that this was the highest amount of disqualifications in Iran's history. Who knows when the moderates will be treated correctly?